So now I'm going to explain you the SPEEDIER tool. First of all, you have to log in. Okay. Now the main screen you will see will be project home, where you can manage all your projects. As you can see in the project list, you have all the projects you have created. And then on the top left, you have the principals menus. It's project home, where we are now. Building information, where you will see there's a lot, 4 more menus. And saving measures, when we will choose which measure we will apply, and then we are going to the periodic report to show how the measures are working. Okay, first of all, I want to create a new project. Okay, we call it the date for today. The building name, it's a building from Barcelona, so I'm going with Barcelona. Surface, I have to define surface in square meters. Owner, if you want, it's not obligatory. And the same with note on descriptions. And then the country. Here we have 4 countries where the pilot site has been: Ireland, Italy, Romania, and Spain. In each one, we have regions to select. As you can see, I'm going to all of them. It depends on which region you select. There will be different annual heating and cooling hours that will use that data to calculate the installation's hours per year. So I'm going with Spain and with the climate zone that we have defined from Barcelona. You also can add an address and a location with the GPS, coordinates, and the building type that you have to select. As you can see, you have to select a typology. I go with administrations, I will confirm it, and finally I will save it. That's my project information, and I'm going to the project list, which, as you can see, there's our project created. We can edit if you have some information you want to review or you are to complete. Okay, you can save or back, the same. You can delete it, or you can start to introducing building information. Okay, here we have 4 other menus: use details, economic data, energy contributions, and building information. We are going through all of them. So now I'm going first with use details, where you have to choose one building activity from the list. If there is your activity, you can create it another one, or choose whatever you want. Okay. The scheduling profile is the hours that your building is open, it's working. So that's 12 hours, 5 days per week. There's a lot of options there. I'm going with 8 hours, 5 days a week. Okay. And that provides you the data from the annual usage schedule. That is used to calculate it, how many hours the lighting, for example, is working in your building. So if you have a more concrete data, you can introduce and change it. Okay, you can change it, but you will lose your scheduling profile. You can also return to your scheduling profile, and your annual usage calculated is here. We have also annual heating hours and annual cooling hours, as have I said in the project creation. It's calculated from the climate zone we have established on the project information, and it's based on climate zones for each country. So when we have heating or cooling, we use this data to calculate how many hours is working and how kilowatts per year is using. And finally, the amount of users, I'm going with 50, and we save it. Each menu, each formulary has to be saved or correctly edited. And we're going now to economic data. In the economic data, this will use to calculate the price of the measures and the savings from the measures and the economical return. Okay, the data is from Spain, so Spain has the ratio number 1, and from them all the countries have related this ratio from Spain. You can change it if you have more accurate data. Also with the Spain full price, you can change it. That's a proposal, but you can change it if you have another one. And finally, interest rate, as you can see, is this interest rate is a proportion of a loan that is charged as interest to the borrower. So when you want to apply some of the measures, we use that to calculate the economical return to know if a measure it's worthwhile to apply or not. I'm going with 10% and I save it. Here we are, energy contributions. That it's not obligatory to fill it because it's used with the solar panels. If you have one and you can define it in the building information, you have to complete this before. But if you haven't, you have not to complete this menu. But if you have some measures that it says that you can install solar panels, in the saving measures menu, the tool will tell you that you have to complete this because you have to say which time we will save with this panel. You can list here, and the percentage of each fuel type you choose. Okay, you have to complete to 100. So if you haven't, it's not, you have to complete it. Now we are going to building information. Here is where we have to complete all information we have collected from our building. So here we have the enveloping elements and the energy consumption elements. We have facades, floors, and roof for the enveloping elements. And we have heating, ventilation, air and conditioning for energy consumption element, domestic hot water, lighting, and other equipment. I will add some of them, not all of them, because it's a lot of time. So I'm going with a facade that is the more completely formulary from enveloping elements. First of all, we have to name a facade. We have to fill the surface in square meters, the orientation, and the technical information. Here we are some options of facade wall or party wall. We go with facade wall. Composition of this facade wall, double layer or single layer. The main support, that will be one of them. I choose ceramic brick of the thickness. And if you have thermal insulation or not, I'm going with yes. And the type of insulation we have, expanded polyester. And the thickness of this thermal insulation. Finally, if we have windows or we haven't, the type of the glass, the frame, type frame, this one, for example, and the surface of all the windows. And we save it. As you can see, now we have a list of facades, and we have our new facade. We can delete it, or we can add another one. The same with floor. I won't create the one, but I show you how is the formulary. As you can see, it's less information than in facade, and the same with the roof. Okay. Now we are going to create one heating and ventilation element. Here we first of all have to name it. Heating and cooling, we have here now. Okay. And the type. It depends which option I choose, the rest of information is one or another. As you can see, if I change it, for example, it changed all the features and all the technical information. I'm going with heating and cooling. Okay, now it's different from the other ones. I have to start with the generator, a pump, the fuel type, for example, natural gas, and the amount of them, for example, 3. And now the heating and cooling demand. So if we know the surface and the percentage of this surface from the total, we can establish the average performance, nominal power, and the heating efficiency and the cooling efficiency. It's a percentage. So we save it. Okay, so we have here our heating and cooling as the same as in the facade. We can delete it. We can add another one. We're going with lighting. That's a different formulary from the heating and cooling. You have to name it. Right. The type of fluorescent, for example, or incandescent or LED. That's the 3 options we have in this tool. The surface demand, 600. If we have or haven't lighting control, no, yes, we haven't, so no. If we choose yes, we have to establish the surface with the lighting control. The installed power, that's the power of the most of the lightings and the amount of them. We have 120 of them. If you know this data, it's horizontal average luminance, you can add it, but it's not obligatory. Okay, you can save it. Okay. Okay. And finally, with all equipment, here we can add computers, printers, everything that it's not heating, ventilation, air conditioning, or domestic hot water installation. I'm going with the computer. Okay, computer. Power consumption per unit. 2. How hour per week usage? We have to establish here how many hours is working on the per week. So I'm going with 30. And the amount of them that we have, for example, 20. Okay. And we save it. Okay. We have other equipment here, lighting, my computer, my light, and my heating and cooling, and my soft shell. So now, if I'm sure that everything is included on the building information, I can close it. But we have to be sure because the other menus will be locked out, so we can't change anything. Okay, so there's a message that tells you that, and we have to accept it. And as you can see, when it's finished, all the menus will be locked out. Okay, except energy contributions, because as I said, energy contributions will be used when you apply some measures, when you add solar panels, for example. Building information. Okay. So I'm going now with applying simulation. Here on the left, we will have our simulations, and on the right, we have the measures that applies to each simulation. So we're going to create one simulation. We call it first. Sometimes it's online simulation, so maybe sometimes it's some connection that doesn't work. Now it's completed successfully. We create another one. Okay, perfect. So now we go with the first one. You have to select it. Here's all the measures that the tool proposes, and we can choose whatever we want. There's no cost measures, low cost measures, medium cost measures, and high cost measures. For example, we can change damper positions, and the facade, the south facade is the one facade. We can increase envelope, insulation, the heating, cooling, and the lighting. Where's the lighting on the top of them? Okay, here there's a lot of measure. We can regularly clean off light fittings, and maybe we can install a skylight, for example. How many skylights? 2 of them. Okay, we save it. Okay, and now we apply calculation to know how kilowatts per year we're saving in each measure. It's okay. Okay, here is the total of the measures applied, but we can go measure by measure. As you can see, it's no cost, so the cost is €0. And the energy estimated savings is the second one. It's 0.739. That's kilowatts per year per square meter for the building. So you have to multiply that for your building surface. And economical return, so it's positive, it's 800, so it's worthy. We also have the other ones, as you can see. The cost here is expensive because it's a high cost, but it's a lot of energy estimated savings. And also the other ones, they are lighting, so they are on the top and on the bottom, sorry. Okay, same for this and the same. And at the end, we have the total of the measures that we have to apply. Okay, so we will go in a second simulation, and we can choose whatever we want. When we have finally choose which simulation we want to apply with the client, with the SME, if we talk to them and we show which one they want to apply, we select the simulation we want to apply, and we apply it. So we are going to apply simulation selected. When you go to apply simulation selected, you cannot modify anything from your building or from your simulation. So you have to be sure. Okay, we apply our simulation. Okay, everything's logged out. As you can see, you cannot save or apply calculation. And now, or apply simulation selected, and now you go to periodic report. What's periodic report? The periodic report shows how it's improving our building, how the applying measures is going to cost less money for us, how we were saving energy. How we do that? We create periods. So in the first period, the period 0, we start, for example, this day, and we finally the next month, okay, on December, at the end of December, okay, and we have the bills, and we know how we were saving. So the initial point is 12 and 4, 23 and 6. Okay, we can add more other bills. If you have another one, you have a lot of them. Okay, or can you let it whatever you want from them? You can save it, and when you save, you have your data here show. Okay, and we have been knowing how is your building improvement. So you can add another period to see how it's working the next month. For example, we start on 3rd. And we end the next month. It was January, for example. And now we're going to see how the bills are working. For example, and we save it. Okay, on the left you can see the applied measures, and on the right how is the bills improving during a concrete period. So you can show to the client how is working everything, and that's all. You can return to your home page where the project list is, and finally you can log out and finish it.